It all started on a Tuesday morning, the kind where the sky's too blue for trouble. But trouble rolled up my driveway at 7:03 a.m. in a matte black Jeep Wrangler, no plates, tinted windows, looking like it belonged on a military base. It wasn't mine, I didn't recognize it, and I definitely wasn't ready for what came next. I'd just stepped onto my porch with a coffee when I saw Linda, our self-proclaimed HOA queen, storming across the street in her robe and slippers, clutching her phone like a loaded gun, eyes fixed on the Jeep like it had insulted her personally. You could almost see steam rising from her perfectly styled brunette bob. "You can't park that here," she barked from the sidewalk. "This is private property. HOA rules clearly state." I raised a hand, calm. "Linda, it's not mine." She squinted, tilting her head. "Don't play dumb. It's in your driveway. You think I haven't memorized the parking guidelines? I wrote them." Before I could respond, the Jeep's door opened. Out stepped a man in black tactical gear, followed by two others, all in body armor with radios. One flashed a badge. Linda's face went pale. "Federal Agent Torres," the man said briskly. "We're running an ongoing investigation. This location is under surveillance." Linda stumbled back like she'd been slapped. "What? Wait, you're the feds." I had no clue what was happening, but one thing was clear. This wasn't a routine visit. These agents weren't here for coffee, and they definitely didn't want attention from a nosy HOA president. Linda wasn't backing down. "I'm the head of this neighborhood association. I demand to know what's going on." Agent Torres gave her a long, tired look. "Ma'am, interfering with a federal operation is a felony." Her mouth opened, closed, opened again, no sound. I couldn't help it. I sipped my coffee and said, "Maybe you should go inside, Linda." Her eyes darted between me and the agents, then to the Jeep. She backed up, spun around, and nearly tripped over her slippers as she fled. The agents turned to me. "Can we talk inside?" That's when I knew this wasn't just about a Jeep. This was bigger, and I was somehow in the middle. I stepped aside as the agents entered my house like they'd done it 100 times. The leader, Agent Torres, scanned the room, then nodded for the others to stay outside. He shut the door and turned to me. "Mr. James Carter." "Yeah," I replied, heartbeat climbing. "What's going on?" He didn't waste time. "We're running surveillance on a suspect in this neighborhood. The Jeep was placed here deliberately. We didn't expect local drama." I raised an eyebrow. "You mean Linda?" He almost smiled. "The HOA president?" "Yep. She's been trying to find me for fake violations since I moved in. She thinks her clipboard's the law." Torres pulled out a thin folder and flipped it open. "We're monitoring a case involving illegal money transfers, possibly tied to a housing scam using fake HOAs." That got my attention. "Fake HOAs? This one's real, unfortunately." Torres looked serious. "Not every part of it. We suspect someone in your HOA, or using its name, is running a financial scheme. That's why we picked your driveway. You're not a suspect." That should have been comforting, but it wasn't. "You're saying someone's using the HOA to launder money?" He nodded. "Or extorted HOA fees, bogus fines, fake repairs." It's the perfect cover. I thought about Linda's obsession with fines, the notices on everyone's doors, the sudden roof inspections last spring that cost every homeowner a few grand except Linda. "You think it's her, don't you?" I asked. He didn't confirm. "We're not ruling anyone out." That's when Linda struck again. From the window, I saw her reappear across the street with her husband, Mark, who always looked like he dreaded her drama. He held a camcorder as she pointed at my house, filming. Torres followed my gaze. "That's a problem." He spoke into a device. "We've got visual exposure. Relocate vehicle. Keep subject under discreet observation." Outside, the other agents climbed into the Jeep and drove off, vanishing like they'd never been there. Linda looked furious, shouting something I couldn't hear. "Let her stew," Torres said. "But keep your head down, Mr. Carter. This is just getting started." And just like that, he was gone. I locked the door, stood in silence, and thought, what am I caught up in? By the next morning, Linda was in full neighborhood war mode, knocking on doors, handing out flyers with bold red letters. "Suspicious vehicle at House 18. Possible illegal activity." That was my house. She'd included a grainy screenshot of the Jeep from her camcorder, like she was running a true crime channel. I opened my door as she slipped a flyer under my neighbor's mat. "Linda," I called. She whipped around like I'd caught her mid-crime. You have some nerve, James. You think you can bring federal vehicles into our peaceful community and not tell anyone. I stepped onto the porch. First, I told you it wasn't mine. Second, you might want to stop spreading lies. She crossed her arms. I've reported this to the HOA board and called a special meeting. If you're hiding something, we'll find out. She had no idea how deep this went, so obsessed with controlling the HOA that she was walking into a federal sting. I needed to warn the agents. I called the number Torres left. A woman answered. Agent Brooks, she said. I explained Linda's flyers, the neighborhood panic, the camcorder footage. The line went quiet. We assumed she'd back off, Brooks said, concerned. If she's escalating, we may need to intervene sooner. I hesitated. Is Linda the suspect? A pause. She's on the list. My heart thudded. She's not alone? Brooks cut in. If she keeps pushing, she might blow our operation. Don't engage. We'll handle her. But Linda was engaging. That day, she hosted a mandatory emergency HOA meeting at the clubhouse. I went out of curiosity and to watch her. The room buzzed with tension. Linda stood at the front like a general prepping for war. As your HOA president, she began, I've identified a serious security breach at House 18, a violation of Article 7, unauthorized use of property. People murmured. Some shot me side eyes. I raised a hand. I didn't break any rules. Explain the federal vehicle. Before I could finish, the clubhouse door opened. Agent Torres and Agent Brooks walked in. Linda froze. Torres held up a badge. Everyone stay seated. We're placing this HOA under federal investigation. The room fell silent, every homeowner stiff in their chairs. Torres walked to the front, scanning the room, then faced Linda. Linda Preston, he said calmly. We have a warrant to seize HOA financial records, digital devices, and communication logs related to misuse of funds and fraudulent activity. Linda blinked. You can't be serious. I'm the president. Brooks stepped forward. Which is exactly why we're here. Linda's mouth opened, but nothing came out. She looked around, but the board members avoided her gaze, some leaning away. For the first time in years, she didn't own the room. This is a mistake, she stammered. James probably set this up. He's always hated me. Torres ignored her, addressing the crowd. We're investigating HOA scams, statewide fines, fees, fake maintenance projects. Your HOA raised red flags after multiple anonymous complaints. I wasn't surprised. Linda had fined one woman for non-compliant curtains, another $700 for planting tomatoes. Brooks held up a spreadsheet. HOA accounts show payments to a fake contractor, Clear Horizon Property Solutions. Anyone seen them work here? No hands went up. That's because they don't exist, Brooks said. Payments were redirected to a personal account under Mark Preston. Linda's face collapsed. My husband has nothing to do with this, she cried. It's my signature, I mean. It's not what you think. Torres raised an eyebrow. So, you're admitting it's your signature? Linda's eyes darted wildly. She turned and ran, but two more agents entered through the back, intercepting her in 5 steps. They read her rights as she shouted, This is harassment. I'm the HOA. Brooks glanced at me, shaking her head slightly. It was over. The agents seized files, laptops, and questioned board members. Some looked ready to cry. I sat back, arms folded, watching justice roll out like a red carpet. My driveway had sparked a federal case, and Linda was the prize catch. 3 days later, the neighborhood was unrecognizably Linda patrolling with her clipboard, no passive-aggressive notes on mailboxes, just quiet and stunned neighbors. Agents had been in and out, collecting evidence, interviewing homeowners. Linda and Mark had siphoned over $160,000 from the HOA budget over 2 years, fake contractors, repairs, even legal consulting fees, all circling back to their joint account, unnoticed until a black Jeep parked in my driveway. An agent later said Linda's need for control made their job easier. Her obsessive documentation receipts, emails, camcorder footage was her own undoing. She'd filmed her downfall. By week's end, Linda was indicted on federal fraud and obstruction charges, Mark as an accomplice. At the next emergency HOA meeting, the remaining board voted unanimously to dissolve the HOA. Years of fear, fines, and fake rules ended in minutes. I was asked to speak. Reluctantly, I stood where Linda had barked orders for years. Maybe now we can just be neighbors again. No spying, no threats, No fake violations over curtains or mailboxes. Let's be a community, not a kingdom. People clapped. Later, I stood on my porch, sipping coffee, watching calm settle over the neighborhood. Agent Torres pulled up, not in the Jeep, but an unmarked SUV. He got out, smirking slightly. Checking in, Mr. Carter. You guys wrapping up? I nodded. Almost. Linda's gone for good. He nodded. She really thought that Jeep was yours. I laughed. She thought everything was hers. That's the problem, he said, handing me a card. Any more weird HOA letters, call us. I tucked it in my pocket. Deal. The agents were gone for good. No Linda, no scams, just a quiet house, a clean driveway, and the best coffee I'd had in years. Funny how a federal Jeep saved a neighborhood. And just when you thought it couldn't get wilder, Linda got a face full of federal badges. If you love karma serving justice one HOA at a time, smash that like button and subscribe for more real-life stories where HOA tyrants meet their match.